Today's Pokedex entry reading is on fighting types. I will be reading entries from Gen 1 all the way up to Gen 9. First up in the fighting type Pokedex entry is Mankey. Pokemon Red, Blue, Leaf Green, and Pokemon Violet. It is extremely quick to anger. It could be docile one moment, then thrashing away the next instant. Pokemon Silver, Soul Silver, and Pokemon X. It's unsafe to approach if it gets violently enraged for no reason and cannot distinguish friends from foes. Pokemon Crystal and Pokemon Scarlet. It lives in groups in the treetops. If it loses sight of its group, it becomes infuriated by its loneliness. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. When Mankey starts shaking and its nasal breathing turns rough, it's a sure sign that it is becoming angry. However, because it goes into a towering rage almost instantly, it is impossible for anyone to flee its wrath. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White 2, Pokemon Y, Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. It lives in treetop colonies. If one member of the group becomes enraged, the whole colony rampages for no reason. Pokemon Moon. Its raging tires it out and causes it to fall asleep, but the anger resonating in its dreams causes it to wake up, which infuriates it all over again. Pokemon Ultra Sun. The smallest of things could cause it to lose its temper, because it doesn't hold in its stress. This Pokemon can live a long time. Primeape. Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon X, Let's Go Pikachu, and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. It stops being angry only when nobody else is around. To view this moment is very difficult. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. When Primeape becomes furious, its blood circulation is boosted. In turn, its muscles are made even stronger. However, it also becomes much less intelligent at the same time. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White, and Pokemon Black and White 2. It grows angry if you see its eyes and gets angrier if you run. If you beat it, it gets even madder. Pokemon Sun. It has been known to become so angry that it dies as a result. Its face looks peaceful in death, however. Pokemon Moon. Some researchers theorize that Primeape remains angry even when inside a Pokeball. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It will never forgive opponents who have angered it, even after it has beaten them down until they cannot move. It never, ever forgives. Pokemon Ultra Moon. The blood vessels in its brain are far sturdier than those of other Pokemon, so it can stay healthy despite its constant raging. Machop. Pokemon Gold, Heart Gold, and Pokemon Shield. Always brimming with power, it passes time by lifting boulders. Doing so makes it even stronger. Pokemon Silver and Soul Silver. It loves to work out and build its muscles. It is never satisfied, even if it trains hard all day long. Pokemon Sapphire and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Machop exercises by hefting around a graveler as if it were a barbell. There's some Machop that travel the world in a quest to master all kinds of martial arts. Pokemon Fire Red, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Sword. Its whole body is composed of muscles. Even though it's the size of a human child, it can hurl 100 grown-ups. Pokemon Pearl and Pokemon Shining Pearl. Its muscles never cramp, however much it trains. It lives in the mountains away from humans. Pokemon Sun. It loves working out. As it gazes at its muscles, which continues to swell day by day, it becomes more and more dedicated to its training. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Once this Pokemon has gained enough confidence and muscle from training with its friends, it challenges Makuhita to a battle. Pokemon Ultra Moon. It likes food that's highly nutritious because its instincts drive it to build muscle efficiently. Machoke. Pokemon Yellow. Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. The belt around its waist holds back its energy. Without it, this Pokemon would be unstoppable. Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Heart Gold. It always goes at its full power. But this very tough and durable Pokemon never gets tired. Pokemon Silver and Pokemon Soul Silver. The muscle covering its body teem with power. Even when still, it exudes an amazing sense of strength. Pokemon Crystal. This tough Pokemon always stays in the zone. Its muscles become thicker after every battle. Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. Machoke's thoroughly toned muscles possess the hardness of steel. This Pokemon has so much strength, it can easily hold aloft a sumo wrestler on just one finger. Pokemon Sapphire and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Machoke undertakes bodybuilding every day, even as it helps people with tough, physically demanding labor. On its day off, this Pokemon heads to the fields and mountains to exercise and train. Pokemon Moon. It willingly assists with hard labor because it knows the work is good training for its muscles. Pokemon Ultra Sun. When it encounters an enemy that's truly mighty, this Pokemon removes the power save belt from its waist and unleashes its full power. Pokemon Ultra Moon. A popular motif for sculptures, its incredibly well-developed muscles have captured the imagination of many an artist. Machamp. Pokemon Red, Blue, Silver, Leaf Green, Soul Silver, and Pokemon Y. Using its heavy muscles, it throws powerful punches that can send the victim clear over the horizon. Pokemon Crystal and Pokemon Shield. With 4 arms that react more quickly than it can think, it can execute many punches at once. Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Omega Ruby. Machop has the power to hurl anything aside. However, trying to do any work requiring care and dexterity causes its arms to get tangled. This Pokemon tends to leap into action before it thinks. Pokemon Fire Red, Diamond, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. It punches with its 4 arms at blinding speed. It can launch 1,000 punches in 2 seconds. Pokemon Emerald. It is impossible to defend against punches and chops doled out by its 4 arms. Its fighting spirit flares up when it faces a tough opponent. Pokemon Moon. It can lift heavy loads with the greatest of ease. It can even heft dump trucks, but its clumsy fingers prevent it from doing any precision work. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It grasps its opponents with its 4 arms and twists them up in an intricate hold. People call it the Machamp Special. Pokemon Ultra Moon. With 4 arms, it can attack and defend simultaneously. It's said to have mastered every martial art in the world. Gigantamaxed Machamp. Pokemon Sword. The Gigantamax energy coursing through its arms makes its punches hit as hard as bomb blasts. Pokemon Shield. One of these Pokemon once used its immeasurable strength to lift a large ship that was in trouble. It then carried the ship to port. Galarian Farfetch'd. Pokemon Sword. The Farfetch'd of the Galar region are brave warriors, and they wield thick, tough leeks in battle. Pokemon Shield. The stalks of leeks are thicker and longer in the Galar region. Farfetch'd that adapted to these stalks took on a unique form. Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee. Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee. When kicking, the sole of its foot turns as hard as a diamond on impact and destroys its enemy. Pokemon Gold, Heart Gold, and Pokemon Sword. This amazing Pokemon has an awesome sense of balance. It can kick in succession from any position. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Hitmonlee's legs freely contract and stretch. Using these spring-like legs, it bowls over foes with devastating kicks. After battle, it rubs down its legs and loosens the muscles to overcome fatigue. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White 2, Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. Its legs can stretch to double their length. First-time foes are startled by Hitmonlee's extensible reach. Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan. Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Punches in corkscrew fashion. It can punch its way through a concrete wall like the air. They are launched at such high speed, even a slight graze could cause a burn. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Hitmonchan is said to possess the spirit of a boxer who had been working toward a world championship. This Pokemon has an indomitable spirit and will never give up in the face of adversity. Tauros, combat breed, Pokemon Scarlet. This Pokemon has a muscular body and excels at close quarters combat. It uses its short horns to strike the opponent's weak spots. Pokemon Violet. This kind of Tauros, known as the combat breed, is distinguished by its thick, powerful muscles and its fierce disposition. Galarian Zapdos. Pokemon Sword. When its feathers rub together, they produce a crackling sound like the zapping of electricity. That's why this Pokemon is called Zapdos. Pokemon Shield. One kick from its powerful legs will pulverize a dump truck. Supposedly, this Pokemon runs through the mountains at over 180 miles per hour. Tyrogue. Pokemon Gold, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Sword. It is always bursting with energy to make itself stronger. It keeps on fighting even if it loses. Pokemon Silver, Fire Red, Soul Silver, and Pokemon Shield. Even though it is small, it can't be ignored because it will slug any handy target without warning. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Tyrogue becomes stressed out if it does not get to train every day. When raising this Pokemon, the trainer must establish and uphold various training methods. Hitmontop. Hitmontop. Pokemon Gold, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, and Pokemon Y. If you become enchanted by its smooth, elegant, dance-like kicks, you may get drilled hard. Pokemon Crystal and Pokemon Shield. After doing a handstand to throw off the opponent's timing, it presents its fancy kick moves. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Hitmontop spins on its head at high speed, all the while delivering kicks. This technique is a remarkable mix of both offense and defense at the same time. The Pokemon travels faster spinning than it does walking. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White 2, Pokemon X, Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. It fights while spinning like a top. The centrifugal force boosts its destructive power by 10. Makuhita. Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Omega Ruby. Makuhita is tenacious. It will keep getting up and attacking its foe however many times it is knocked down. Every time it gets back up, this Pokemon stores more energy in its body for evolving. Pokemon Emerald. It loves to toughen up its body above all else. strenuous training. Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Violet. It toughens up by slamming into thick trees over and over and over. It gains a sturdy body and dauntless spirit. Pokemon Sun. It was originally brought in from another region, but now Makuhita from Alola are more famous. Pokemon Moon. Their daily routine consists of training together first thing in the morning, eating and napping in the afternoon, and then more training afterward. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It practices its slaps by repeatedly slapping tree trunks. It has been known to slap an Executor and get flung away. Pokemon Ultra Moon. There's a rumor of a traditional recipe for stew that trainers can use to raise strong Makuhita. Hariyama. Pokemon Sapphire and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Hariyama's thick body may appear fat, but it is actually a hunk of solid muscle. If this Pokemon bears down and tightens all its muscles, its body becomes as hard as a rock. Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Violet. It stomps on the ground to build power. It can send a 10-ton truck flying with a straight arm punch. Pokemon Emerald. It has the habit of challenging others without hesitation to tests of strength. It's been known to stand on train tracks and stop trains using 4-arm thrusts. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Pokemon Y, Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. It loves to match power with big-bodied Pokemon. It can knock a truck flying with its arm thrusts. Pokemon Sun. It is known for its fantastic strength, but as it grows older, it focuses more on training Makuhita. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Although they enjoy comparing their strength, they're also kind. They value etiquette, praising opponents they battle. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Hariyama that are big and fat aren't necessarily strong. There are some small ones that move nimbly and use moves skillfully. Mega Lopunny. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It swings its ears like whips and strikes its enemies with them. It has an intensely combative disposition. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Mega Evolution awakens its combative instincts. It has shed any fur that got in the way of its attacks. Riolu. Pokemon Diamond, Pokemon Y, Alpha Sapphire, and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. The aura that emanates from its body intensifies to alert others if it is afraid or sad. Pokemon Pearl and Pokemon Shining Pearl. Its body is lithe yet powerful. It can crest 3 mountains and cross 2 canyons in one night. Pokemon Black and White 2, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Omega Ruby. It uses the shape of auras, which change according to emotion, to communicate with others. Pokemon Sun. It can discern the physical and emotional states of people, Pokemon, and other natural things from the shape of their aura waves. Pokemon Ultra Sun. knows how people in Pokemon feel by looking at their auras. It doesn't approach dangerous opponents. Pokemon Ultra Moon. It uses waves called auras to communicate with others of its kind. It doesn't make any noise during this time, so its enemies can't detect it. Pokemon Sword. It's exceedingly energetic with enough stamina to keep running all through the night. Taking it for walks can be a challenging experience. Pokemon Legends Arceus. Though infantile in appearance, it has the mysterious ability to read the minds of humans. The pure of heart are met with Riolu's approval, while those of ill nature earn only its loathing. Timburr. Pokemon Black. It fights by swinging a piece of lumber around. It is close to evolving when it can handle the lumber without difficulty. Pokemon Sword. It loves helping out with construction projects. It loves it so much that if rain causes work to halt, it swings its log around and throws a tantrum. Pokemon Shield. Timburr that have started carrying logs that are about 3 times their size are nearly ready to evolve. Gurdurr. Pokemon Black, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. This Pokemon is so muscular and strongly built that even a group of wrestlers could not make it budge an inch. Pokemon White. They strengthen their bodies by carrying steel beams. They show off their big muscles to their friends. Pokemon Sword. It shows off its muscles to Machoke and other Gurdurr. If it fails to measure up to the other Pokemon, it lies low for a little while. Pokemon Shield. Gurdurr excels at demolition. Construction is not its forte. In any case, there's skill in the way this Pokemon wields its metal beam. Conkeldurr. Pokemon Black, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Omega Ruby. It is thought that Conkeldurr taught humans how to make concrete more than 2,000 years ago. Pokemon White. They use concrete pillars as walking canes. They know moves that enable them to swing the pillars freely in battle. Concrete mixed by Conkeldurr is much more durable than normal concrete, even when the compositions of the two materials are the same. Pokemon Shield. When going all out, this Pokemon throws aside its concrete pillars and leaps at opponents to pummel them with its fists. Throh. Pokemon Black, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Omega Ruby. When it tightens its belt, it becomes stronger. While Throh use vines to weave their own belts. It performs throwing moves with first-rate skill. Over the course of many battles, Through's belt grows darker as it absorbs its wearer's sweat. Pokemon Shield. They train in groups of 5. Any member that can't keep up will discard its belt and leave the group. Sawk. Pokemon White, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Tying their belts gets them pumped and makes their punches more destructive. Disturbing their training angers them. Pokemon Black and White 2, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Omega Ruby. Desiring the strongest karate chop, they seclude themselves in mountains and train without sleeping. Pokemon Shield. The karate chops of a Sawk that's trained itself to the limit can cleave the ocean itself. Mienfoo. Pokemon Black, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. In fights, they dominate with onslaughts of flowing, continuous attacks. With their sharp claws, they cut enemies. Pokemon White, they have mastered elegant combos. As they concentrate, their battle moves become swifter and more precise. Pokemon Ultra Sun, they can often be seen in packs in the morning, slowly moving their bodies through a series of poses. Pokemon Ultra Moon, they seclude themselves in the mountains and devote themselves to training. The form of their kicks and chops differs from pack to pack. Pokemon Sword. In 1 minute, a well-trained Mienfoo can chop with its arms more than 100 times. Mienshao. Pokemon Black, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Omega Ruby. It wields the fur on its arms like a whip. Its arms' attacks come with such rapidity that they cannot even be seen. Pokemon Ultra Moon. When Mienshao lets out a bizarre wail, you're in danger. A flurry of kicks and chops too fast to see is about to be unleashed. Pokemon Sword. When Mienshao comes across a truly challenging opponent, it will lighten itself by biting off the fur on its arms. Pancham. Pokemon Y and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. It does its level best to glare and pull a scary face, but it can't help grinning if anyone pats its head. Pokemon Moon. There's no point to the leaf in its mouth, aside from an effort to look cool. It's mischievous, so it's not well suited to inexperienced trainers. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It follows Pangoro around like a henchman. When Pancham makes a big mistake, its leaf gets taken away. Pokemon Ultra Moon. It's desperate to intimidate its opponents. Be nice and pretend to be scared if you catch it glaring at you intensely. Pokemon Sword. It chooses a Pangoro as its master and then imitates its master's actions. This is how it learns to battle and hunt for prey. Hallelujah. Pokemon X and Pokemon Omega Ruby. Although its body is small, its proficient fighting skills enable it to keep up with big bruisers like Machamp and Hariyama. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It overwhelms opponents with quick moves, but sometimes it showboats for too long when it's using a special move and gets itself into a pinch. Pokemon Ultra Moon. In combat, Hawlucha leaps nimbly about, taking advantage of its opponent's blind spots. It's also skilled at using superb submission holds. Pokemon Scarlet. Its elegant finishing moves, performed by nimbly, leaping around using its wings, are polished in the forest where it was born and raised. Pokemon Violet. Hawlucha live quietly without flocking together. They fight constantly with their natural enemies, noisy groups of Primeape. layers of deciduous feathers insulates the Pokemon against Hisui's extreme cold. This is firm proof that evolution can be influenced by environment. Crabrawler. Pokemon Sun. While guarding its weak points with its pincers, it looks for an opening and unleashes punches. When it loses, it foams at the mouth and faints. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Its hard pincers are well suited to both offense and defense. Fights between two Crabrawler are like boxing matches. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Crabrawler has been known to mistake Exeggutor for a coconut tree and climb it. The enraged Exeggutor shakes it off and stomps it. Pokemon Violet. If it loses its pincers, they'll quickly regrow. The pincers are popular ingredients in paella, since their shells produce a tasty soup stock. Stuffle. Pokemon Sun. Despite its adorable appearance, when it gets angry and flails about, its arms and legs could knock a pro wrestler sprawling. Pokemon Moon. A touch from anyone except a known friend sends it into a surging frenzy. It's an incredibly dangerous Pokemon. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It boasts power enough to split large trees in half. The organ on its rear releases an odor that it uses to communicate with others of its kind. Pokemon Sword. Its fluffy fur is a delight to pet, but carelessly reaching out to touch this Pokemon could result in painful retaliation. Beware. Pokemon Sun. This immensely dangerous Pokemon possesses overwhelming physical strength. Its habitat is generally off limits. Pokemon Moon. This Pokemon has the habit of hugging its companions. Many trainers have left this world after their spines were squashed by its hug. Pokemon Ultra Moon. It boasts tremendous physical strength. Many people call it the most dangerous Pokemon in the Alola region. Pokemon Shield. The moves it uses to take down its prey would make a martial artist jealous. It tucks subdued prey under its arms to carry them to its nest. Passimian. Pokemon Moon. They battle with hard berries for weapons. Their techniques are passed from the boss to the group, generation upon generation. Pokemon Ultra Sun. They use their saliva to stick leaves to their shoulders. You can tell what troop they belong to from the position of the leaves. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Berries are its weapon as well as the staple of its diet. The one that can throw a berry the farthest is the boss of the troop. Pokemon Shield. Passimian live in groups of about 20, with each member performing an assigned role. Through cooperation, the group survives. Pokemon Scarlet. This Pokemon battles by throwing hard berries. It won't obey a trainer who throws Pokeballs without skill. Galabapus. Pokemon Sword. It's very curious, but its means of investigating things is to try to punch them with its tentacles. The search for food is what brings it onto land. Pokemon Shield. Its tentacles tear off easily, but it isn't alarmed when that happens. as a 3-year-old. Graplocked. Pokemon Sword. A body made up of nothing but muscle makes the grappling moves this Pokemon performs with its tentacles tremendously powerful. Pokemon Shield. Searching for an opponent to test its skills against, it emerges onto land. Once the battle is over, it returns to the sea. Sirfetch'd. Pokemon Sword. Only Farfetch'd that have survived many battles can attain this evolution. When this Pokemon's leek withers, it will retire from combat. Pokemon Shield. After deflecting attacks with its hard leaf shield, it strikes back with its sharp leek stalk. The leek stalk is both weapon and food. Phalanx. Pokemon Sword. 5 of them are troopers, and 1 is the brass. The brass's orders are absolute. Pokemon Shield. The 6 of them work together as one Pokemon. Teamwork is also their battle strategy, and they constantly change their formation as they fight. Pokemon Scarlet. The brass, which is the one that stands at the front and issues orders, is the strongest and smartest of the 6. Pokemon Violet. The leader, known as the brass, uses its extendable horn to issue orders to the others when it's time to change formation. Zamazenta, hero of many battles. Pokemon Sword. In times past. In times past, it worked together with a king of the people to save the Galar region. It absorbs metal that it then uses in battle. Pokemon Shield. This Pokemon slept for eons while in the form of a statue. It was asleep for so long, people forgot that it ever existed. Kubfu. Pokemon Sword. Kubfu trains hard to perfect its moves. The moves it masters will determine which form it takes when it evolves. Pokemon Shield. If Kubfu pulls the long white hair on its head, its fighting spirit heightens and power wells up from the depths of its belly. Flamigo. Pokemon Scarlet. This Pokemon apparently ties the base of its neck into a knot so that energy stored in its belly does not escape from its beak. Pokemon Violet. Thanks to a behavior of theirs known as synchronizing, an entire flock of these Pokemon can attack simultaneously in perfect harmony. Annihilate. Pokemon Scarlet. When its anger rose beyond a critical point, this Pokemon gained power that is unfettered by the limits of its physical body. Pokemon Violet. It imbues its fists with the power of the rage that it kept hidden in its heart. Opponents struck by this imbued fist will be shattered to their core. Slither Wing. Pokemon Violet. This Pokemon somewhat resembles an ancient form of Volcarona that was introduced in a this magazine. Iron Valiant, Pokemon Scarlet. It has some similarities to a mad scientist's invention, covered in a paranormal magazine. This concludes our Fighting Pokemon entry readings. But before you go, I have a question to ask. A lot of these fighting type Pokemon are tough and pretty strong. So I'm wondering which one of these Pokemon would you be brave enough to spar with? My choices would be either Pancham, cause I think I would have a chance as long as I can subdue it with headpats. And my second option is Beware. If I lose to Beware, at least my death will be swift. He'll just snap me in two, and it'll all be over.